My name is John Duffy. I'm the Director of Education for Estes Rockets, and this is the kind of a series of interviews we're going to be doing for engineers in different fields. Our very first guest we have right now is Mallory Langford, and I would like her to real quickly just introduce yourself. Give a quick introduction. Let me know who you are, what your degrees are, where you went to school. If you want to give a shout out to your alma mater, that'd be great too, and what you do now.
Great. Well, my name is Mallory Langford. I am currently the president of Estes Rockets. I am a mechanical engineer by training. I have an undergraduate and a master's degree from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, awesome. So real quick, since a lot of the people that are going to be watching this are students and they're trying to figure out their path, what was your path to becoming an engineer? Did you always want to be an engineer as a kid? How'd you kind of focus on the not only wanting to be an engineer, but also what path you wanted to take?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I was always really good at math and science, and I really enjoyed those fields, those classes, and I had a good strength in those. And I was really fortunate early on to have some teachers, especially math and science teachers, who really exposed me to engineering and to guide me in that direction. I think what really solidified it for me was one summer in high school, I did a 2-week sleepaway camp. I went to engineering camp in high school at Virginia Tech. And what was really unique about it was focused entirely on girls. So everyone who went was a girl. Everyone who went was interested in engineering. And the whole point of it was to expose us to every different discipline in engineering that Virginia Tech offered. So, one day we'd be working on mechanical engineering. One day we'd be working on electrical engineering. One day we'd be working with the civil engineering department. And so I got to get this really broad experience. And I focused on mechanical engineering when I went to Carnegie Mellon, mostly because I wanted to go into aerospace. But my Carnegie Mellon, which was the school I loved and really wanted to go to, doesn't have an aerospace engineering department. So I said, mechanical's close enough. And honestly, it was such a great decision because as cool as airplanes and aerospace is, I found a totally different path there that I really found that I loved more of, like fluid flow, thermal physics, thermodynamics, heat transfer, and that steered me away from airplanes, which is what I thought I wanted to work on, and to the career I ended up in, which was construction. So before working at Estes, I spent a decade working on first of a kind engineering programs and projects, really focused on some of the toughest problems that we face as a country. So nuclear waste cleanup, chemical weapons cleanup, power plant construction, oil and gas construction. And I really fell in love with that world and really got interested in the effects that engineers can have on communities, and how important engineers are.
Well, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So you had this amazing. You went from being in the classroom to now you're solving some real problems,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you think back to those first few years, what were some of the big problems that you solved, and how did you work through that?
Yeah, great question. So while I was in school, I had a couple of internships at Bechtel, which was the company I worked for after I graduated. And I would definitely recommend an internship experience to any engineer because it both teaches you what you like and what you don't like about working. So I had really great experiences, and one of the most challenging technical problems that I ever faced was we were working on this project called the Waste Treatment Plant. It's based in Eastern Washington, and it's a cleanup of a site where the United States made the fuel for nuclear bombs in during the Cold War and during World War II. And during the time that the country was trying to produce this nuclear material, it was wartime. They were really focused on just getting to the mission, which was winning the war. And they weren't necessarily considering the environmental aspects of what they were doing. So this project was to remediate a lot of the waste that had been left behind during the production process. And what the plant was meant to do is something called vitrification. So they take the radioactive material and encase it in glass. And so you're left with essentially, huge glass rods that can then be stored, and it won't leach. And it's contained until the radiation decays enough that it can be safe to be recycled, which is hundreds and thousands of years, right? A really long time. Anyway, so part of this is you have to make sure that this waste, as you're processing it, remains mixed, so that you're creating a consistent final product. But no one had really done this type of mixing before. And so I was focused on CFD, computational fluid dynamics, and working on brand new models that people hadn't ever developed before on liquid solid interface mixing, and how to basically model particles in volumes of fluid. Actually I have an article published that I was an author on, so that was really cool. And I think one of the things that was so cool about that was not only what I learned doing it, but also the fact that the results of that work are actually in construction. And someday I'll be able to point at a building and tell my kids, I worked on a very small part of this really big building. And I had great mentors along that process. No engineer comes out of school knowing everything that they need to know to be a practicing engineer. And I was just really fortunate to have great mentors who respected me, respected my point of view, but also were willing to teach me, and to be patient with someone learning, but also let me do things myself and make mistakes.
That's actually pretty cool. And as you're talking about that, a couple of things I'm thinking about is that's your experience is there's a ton of things that you've learned how to do. You've applied your learning, you've solved problems, and then I step back and I look at what you're doing now, right? And you're not doing any of that right now.
No.
So you're running a rocket company. So my question, and by the way, you're not the only engineer that I know that does that. You spend some time in the field. You gain some information, you gain some knowledge, and then you start applying it. But then all of a sudden you start shifting into these management roles. So my question to you is from what you learned to now you're running a rocket company, what are some of those engineering skills and your decision calculus during those periods? What do you bring over to what you do now? What do you use? What are some of the skills that you learned in that life that you are using now?
Yeah, I would say the number one skill that I developed as an engineer that I use now is critical thinking. The ability to approach a problem, which might seem big, might seem small. There are all different types of problems that come with running a business. But breaking it down into steps and really following the process of, it's what a lot of students are taught in their high school physics class, even identify the problem, put together a hypothesis, gather data to support your hypothesis or disprove your hypothesis, and then come to a conclusion. And I wouldn't say that I do that formally every day for every problem, but I still have that thought process of breaking down problems in a way that you might approach, a word problem that you're doing in math class or something.
Yeah.
I would say, so that's one. The other thing that I would say is just a general comfort with numbers. I'm not doing CFD anymore. I'm spending a lot of time looking at balance sheets and budgets and evaluating proposals. And frankly, once you've got like differential equations down, basic arithmetic in accounting it's not scary.
Yeah.
It's easy to understand, and just having that comfort with numbers. And that's one, I mean, there's lots of different data analysis that is part of running a business today.
That's it. Yeah, I can get it. Like you have to be able to approach problems from a position of being able to solve it in like linearly. You like step one, step two, step three. And then if you hit a bump in the road, you kind of go back and start the process over. So it also throws another question in my mind. Like, so, and you alluded to it earlier, what advice would you give either to an individual or a group or teachers or parent for somebody who may be interested in engineering, but doesn't necessarily fit the